In this video tutorial, we are going to be drawing this object. So I'm going to pull this tab to my other screen. And in SOLIDWORKS, I'm going to start out by creating a new part. And you can change your units to mmgs, or millimeters. We can go to the Sketch tab, select the Sketch button, and select your front face. Then it shows that there is a circle around our origin. It shows that there are two small circles above the origin and below the origin. And then it has a kind of a diamond shape outside with rounded corners. So we're going to do the inside first, get everything correct, and then work on that outside. So first, it shows that the inside has a diameter here of 26, and the outside is 12. So these outside circles are both 12. So you can either set them to equal or you can dimension both of them. It's up to you, doesn't matter. But it also shows that the outside circles are 108 away from one another. So if you select both circles, they are 108 away. Now, it doesn't necessarily show this dimension, but you almost have to assume it, since it is identical from the top to the bottom. So this top half is the same thing as this bottom half. That means that they are equally spaced apart from the origin. So if you select one circle and our origin, the distance that we want is actually 108 divided by 2. So you could do that in your head, or you could simply type it in. SOLIDWORKS actually figures out all of these equations for you. So we want 54 away. Now, they're still blue because they can actually still move left and right. So what we need to do is make all three centers of these three circles vertical of one another. So select the center, hold in Shift, select the origin and the other center, and then we want to set them to vertical. Now they're fully defined. Okay, now we can kind of work on that outside. So I'm going to do that by actually using the line tool and just kind of starting over here somewhere and drawing up to here, drawing over, down outside this circle and connecting back. Okay, then I can click the green check to get off of the line tool. And I'm going to set each one of these to their fillets before I go ahead and rearrange anything else. So the top and bottom have a fillet of 13, a radius of 13. So get your fillet tool, set this to 13, select the top one, and select the bottom one, and hit the green check. Okay. Then we can change this fillet to 30, and we'll select the left side and the right side, and hit the green check. Okay. Now we're done with the fillet tool. So now we need to zoom in and figure out where the center points of these things are. So in our picture, it actually shows us here that the center of this outside arc is coming off of the center of that circle, meaning both this circle and this arc share the same center, meaning they're concentric. Okay, and if we look close here, it shows the radius of this little outside curve is 30, but it continues, this little line continues saying it's coming from the center of the origin. Okay, so once again, these two, this circle and this, are concentric. But I can tell you from previous experience that SOLIDWORKS will give you a warning if you try to make this circle and that arc concentric along with that arc and the circle concentric. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a different way of doing that. So just follow with me if I confused you. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to select this little circle's center down here, hold in Shift, click the center of this arc, and I'm going to make them merge together. Okay. Now you might say, well, what happens if you make them concentric? Well, let's try that up here. Okay, so let's get the arc this time, not the center of it, just the arc, hold in Shift and the circle, and let's make them concentric. Notice, did the exact same thing. So two different ways of doing that, but it's the exact same thing. Now here is where I said you might run into an issue. Okay, so you may or may not. I've done it sometimes where I do them concentric and I don't get a warning. Sometimes I do get a warning. I can't tell you why that is, but I think the easier way of doing this, instead of doing that concentric like I did up here, is doing that merge, merging the center points. So click that center point, hold in Shift, click our origin, and let's merge these together. Okay, do the same thing over here. Click the center point, hold in Shift, click the origin, and merge them together. Now, I got no warnings, and that was very, very fast and easy. If you got warnings, just back up or delete whatever is yellow and try it again, okay? Until your sketch is fully defined. Once it's fully defined, go over to the Features tab, Extrude, and it says here on our activity, I threw in a little monkey wrench, it says, can you explain why the center of mass has all 0 coordinates? So why is that all 0? Think about that a little bit. Okay, our material thickness is 10. So why is it all 0? Well, here, I'll show you why. When we go to extrude, if we're extruding forward, the center of mass is halfway through this. If we go to extrude backwards, once again, the center of mass is halfway through that extrusion. So how do we get the Z to be 0? Well, we want to extrude backwards and forwards the same amount. So instead of it being blind, change this to midplane. Okay, so now you see our sketch is right in the middle. So that's going to mean our Z is going to be 0. Well, the Y and X are also 0 because this is identical left and right and up and down. So it means the exact middle of it is our origin. So we want to make sure this is at midplane and distance of 10. Hit the green check, change your material, and I believe our material here is nickel, which is a default. And then we can evaluate this, and we should get a mass of 395.24 grams with a center of mass at all zeros. If you got that, you can save this as the assignment name, and you can close out and move on to the next one. If you didn't get that, go back into your sketch, continue to problem solve until you have this 100% complete.